Hey, 7th grade. This is your math lesson for Tuesday, April the 21st. Lesson 155 is due for today, right? And that is the one that will be collected. So make sure that you have done 155 well, and at the end of the week, I will ask you to hand that in with any tests and quizzes that you are doing this week. This week, there will be this math lesson. There will be some language in the homework that we grade kind of randomly, and I'll let you know as we go what that is. And then there will be a language quiz and a reading quiz. All right, a language quiz and a reading quiz. Quizzes 2 of language and reading this week. That'll be the stuff that you hand in, and I'll remind you of all of that on Friday. Lesson 156 in math is due Wednesday, April 22nd. Check out the instructions. I think you can mostly figure that out, and we'll talk a little bit about that on Wednesday when we grade it. Now, I have promised you some review. We are not going to review circle graphs today, okay? Yesterday's video labeled Math 7 Lesson 1, Math 7 Lesson 153 and 154. No, I'm all confused now. Yesterday's video labeled 4/20/20, April 20th. It will say Math 7 Lesson 155. Okay? That video has detailed instructions on how to figure out how to fill in your chart for a circle graph and how to make the circle graph. So go back there to yesterday's video to see instructions about that. Let's review surface area. What is surface area? And we're going to be looking at the surface area of three-dimensional figures, figures with length, width, and height. All right? Surface area of a, well, we know surface area. Surface area of a square. Surface area is how many squares. So if your label is feet, this is a square foot. So for example, the rectangular solid that is 40 by 8 by 10 feet, you are figuring out how many of these will cover that entire thing. That is about the dimensions of maybe, that's close to the dimensions of a shipping container, some shipping containers, all right? Some are bigger, some are smaller, I'm sure, all right? But how many feet cover the outside of this, okay? It is not concerned about how much space is inside or how many cubes it holds, but it is simply saying how many of these covers the outside, all right? Squares. Or if the label is inches, then it is how many of these little squares cover the outside of a figure, all right? Now the first one is a rectangular solid, and that would be something like this, all right? But much larger than this, okay? So a big box, a big rectangular box that is 40 feet long by 8 feet wide and 10 feet high. What is the surface area? Now we need to know the formula, right? So let's write the formula. Of a rectangular solid, surface area equals 2 times, what is it? LW plus, that means length times width plus width times height. Let's erase my cube and move it a little bit, I think we can. Plus what else? Sorry. Length times height. Length times height. Each of these letters means something. Okay, this means length times width, width times height, length times height. And the times 2 is because there are 2 of each of these sides. This is equal to this if it were covered, right? This is equal to this, and this is equal to this. 6 sides, 2 of each of these. 2, 4, 6, 2 of each of these. All right? So now what is our equation? So you fill in this with the length, width, etc. 2 times length is 40 times 8. We'll use that inside there as the times sign. Width times height is 8 times 10. And length times height, 40 times 10. And we have that in there. All right? Now let's solve all these multiplication problems. These are all multiplication problems, right? It's supposed to be a plus in there. Now you see that? So let's solve these multiplication problems. So this stays 2 times 40 times 8 is what? Say it. 40 times 8 would be what? 320 plus 8 times 10, say it. 80 plus 40 times 10, right? Add all of those up. 320 plus 80 is another 400. 400 plus 400 is 800. So we have 2 times 800, which is 1600. And remember how many, that's what? Feet. And we are talking about area, so it's a square, feet square. 1600 of these would cover that container. 1600 of the feet squared. So make sure if it's area, even if it's surface area, okay, this is your key, area means squared. So that's 1600 feet squared. Let's just move cylinder over a little bit. Move it up. And then let's stick a cube in here. Cube isn't too complicated. Cube. Now a cube is one of these that is perfectly square. Every edge, the length, the width, and the height are all the same thing. Okay? So you're talking about edges. So let's find the surface area of a cube with edges of 11 inches. So E, edge equals 11 inches. All right? What's the formula for the surface area of a cube? Formula for surface area of a cube? Surface area equals 6 edge squared, right? There are 6 sides. So to find one of those, you go edge times edge. That finds the area of one side. Edge times edge finds the area of one side. Times 6 would be your answer. So your equation is going to be 6 times 11 squared. What is 11 squared? What is 11 squared? Is 11 squared 22? Trying to see how many yeses I sensed. Is 11 squared 22? 11 squared means 11 times 11, not 11 times 2. 11 times 11. So this is 6 times, oops, put the 6 in parentheses, doesn't really matter which one. 6 times 11 times 11 is 121. 121 times 6 is what? 726 inches. Area means little squares, inch squared, squared. All right? What is the formula for the surface area of a cylinder? And this would be called a cylinder. Right? This is a cylinder. A silo, a thermos, your water bottle, a jar, cylinders. Anything that's not, well, anything that's round, basically, and holds something. So, what is the formula for the surface area of a cylinder? If you know these formulas, you should be able to figure these out. The formula for the surface area of a cylinder is surface area equals 2 pi r times r plus h, right? Let me make sure all that is on the video. It is. Well, so, make sure we know what this symbol means. Pi is always equals 3.14. R is a radius halfway across this thing, halfway from the center to the edge on this thing is 6 inches. So radius equals 6 inches. And let's put, so we have pi radius, let's put the height. How high is it? Height, how high is the figure? 18 inches. I'm going to run out of space here. So then, with 3.14, it would be 2 times 3.14 times 6, your radius, times 6 plus 18, right? Pi, radius, height. Follow the formula carefully. Now all you need to do, actually first of all, you need to solve this, right? So let's keep everything the same, and then 2 times 3.14 times 6 times 6 plus 18, 24. All right, start at the left. You can do this however, you can do this in whatever order you want to multiply with. I'm going to start at the left. If you go 2 times 3.14 is 6.28. All right, times 6 is 37.68. You have this decimal. Carefully do the math and put the decimal at the right place. If there are 2 places to the right of the decimal, then the decimal goes in 2 places on the answer. 2.2 times 3.14 is 6.28 times 6 is 37.68 times 24 is 904.8. 0.32 inches squared. Surface area, inches squared. Again, that means that take 904.32 of these little squares to cover this thing up entirely. Cover it up, cover the bottom, cover the top, and all the sides. If you line these up perfectly, you would get 900 some onto the surface area of this cylinder. All right. Now, what are we going to look at? Here's a problem you can work on while I am erasing the board. I would like to find the total investment. How much does this person owe total? All right? He borrowed the principal. He borrowed $65,000 for 12 years at 5% interest. $65,000 for 12 years at 5% interest. Find the total amount that he owes the bank. Do that while I erase this, and then we will talk about it. Just going to use my rag, but it's wet. That'll mean that I have to wait on it to dry. Just be quiet and let you work for a little bit. Until I get this erased, you should have it all figured out. I forget which principle this is. I think it's the other one, actually. What did I say? $65,000? Yes. $65,000. Time 12 years, a rate of 5%. So interest equals PRT, right? Principal times rate times time. So then what is his final total? What is the principal plus interest? Your final answer is $104,000. Total owed is $104,000. By now you should have that, right? If not, no big deal. Here's how you get it. First of all, you need to figure out how much interest is owed, right? Let's go 12 years times 0.05. 12 times 0.05, right? 0. 5 plus 1, 6. Take the decimal point 2 places, in 2 places. You would have 0.60, or you can hop that 0 off and simply have 0.6, okay? Anytime you have a 0 at the end of it like that, you can get rid of it. So now we have 65,000 times 0.6. If you just stick those zeros out at the end, you can bring them down. 1, 2, 3, 5 times 6. There's 30, 36, 37, 38, 39. One place after the decimal, one place after the decimal means this is your total interest. $39,000 of interest. $39,000 of interest. You add the principal and the interest to get the total amount you owe. Okay? Figure out the interest, add it to the principal, and that's how much you owe. Sometimes they will tell you. Sometimes they'll have a problem that simply says, he borrowed $65,000, he paid $39,000 interest. How much did he pay altogether? Add the two up and get the same thing. Those, of course, are nicer because you don't have to figure the interest. All right. Let me give you another problem while I erase. Somebody's bill is $208.75. $208.75. He paid 6% sales tax. 6% sales tax. What is his sales tax and what is the total that he paid then? $208.75. With a 6% sales tax, how much tax did he pay and what was his total bill then with the tax added on? Work on that. Bill, $208.75. That's dollars. 6% sales tax. I'm just going to put ST. Sales tax, 6%. All right. The proportion for that is $208.75. That is your total bill, or that is the price. That's the total of the price. Okay, so that's over 100%. Okay, so this is dollars, and this is percent. Sometimes you work dollars over dollars, percent over percent. And these, when you're adding a percent to something or subtracting a percent, you have dollars over percent. All right, equals the amount of your sales tax. I'm going to put ST here, sales tax. This is the amount of sales tax over 6%. All right. And so this will be the sales tax. And I need this answer written somewhere, sales tax. And then you add the price and the sales tax to get your total. All right? So over here, let's just put this over here. I'm going to want the sales tax and total. Two answers. Please give me two answers on these. If it's talking discount or sales tax, I want two answers. I want the missing number, which is the sales tax, or the discount if you're talking about discount. If it's sales tax, you add. If it's a discount, you subtract. All right? But this is a sales tax, so we're adding. So then, we have 100. I'm just going to put T for tax equals 100 times T, and this is 208.75 times 6. And I'm just going to give you that total, but you do it carefully. 208.75 times 6 equals 1252.50. So 1252.50. should be it, right? If we divide this by 100, simply moves the decimal point over 2 places, right? So now we have 12.5250. What do we do with this number? Okay, we're looking for an amount of money. So what do we do with this number? Round this number off to the nearest cent or the nearest hundredths, tenths, hundredths. When we're talking about money, you're working with 2 places after the decimal. So round off the 2 using the 5, which makes the 2 a what? So your tax equals 12.53. Round the 2 off using the 5 makes the 2 a 3. Your answer, your sales tax answer is $12.53. To get the total now, this number down here that I want total, you add 208.75 plus 12.53. 208.75 plus 12.53 should give you $221.28. Please have dollar signs when you're working with taxes. Or when anytime you're working with money, please get that dollar sign in. All right. Do I have enough room over here? I think I do. Suppose I am making a scale drawing, and today I'm going to show you the proportion. I showed you one way to do scale drawing on one of the last math videos. Check that out. It would be math lesson, where are you at? Lesson 153. So whatever math 7, lesson 153, whatever your date is on that, that will give you one way to figure out these scale drawings. Today I will give you the proportion just so you see what's going on. A scale drawing is a drawing that is cut down in size, okay? So, for example, if you're doing a statue of a man is 6 foot tall, and you're making the statue, you're just doing a small version of the statue. So he's 6 foot tall. How could you do it? You could say 1 inch equals, no, you want to do more than that. Well, 1 inch equals 1 foot. So if you did 1 inch equals 1 foot, your actual statue of the guy would only be 6 inches high. Okay? Each inch indicates, so it's a pretty tiny statue. That's what's happening. Each inch equals 1 foot. You do this when you're drawing a building or something like that. And I told you that before, you can't draw the size of the building on paper. So you make it down so that when you're drawing a room, if you're drawing a 20-foot room, you could say 1 inch equals 5 feet or something like that. And then your room would be 4 inches wide on the scale drawing. Okay, something like that. So there's proportion that you can use to do that. So on this scale drawing, the scale is 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch equals 5 feet. All right? And your drawing length is 6 inches. So the drawing that you have is 6 inches by 3 1/4 inches. So you have a drawing. The drawing is length equals 6 inches and width equals 3 1/4 inches. All right? So you have this proportion. to find the length, you can work with this proportion right here. 1/4 equals 5, right? So 1/4 equals 5, and this is inches, and this is feet, right? So on your drawing, you have inches, so put inches, here you put inches under inches. 6 inches equals the missing number, the length. Okay? This, I should have, that's not a 1, that's an L. Alright? So 1/4 L, 1/4, you got room to do it down here, 1/4 L equals 6 times 5. Okay, remember, when you're doing this, you're going 1/4 times L and 6 times 5. Let's just do 6 times 5 so that we don't run out of space. 6 times 5 is what? 6 times 5 is 30. How do we get rid of the fraction? This is 1 divided by 4. So times 4 gets rid of it. So if we go 4 times 1/4 equals 4, right? Times 30. All right? That gets rid, oh, we need the L here again. This gets rid of the 4's on this side. 1 divided by 4 times 4 gets rid of the 4. So all you have left now is L. L equals 4 times 30 is 120. So your L over here on your real thing, your L is going to equal 120 feet. Whatever you're building is going to be 120 feet long. L equals 120. All right, do the same thing. Same thing for the width. And I just threw one thing in here to complicate it for you, right? 1/4 over 3 1/4. And the missing number is your width. So let's make that a W. So now we have 1/4